So I'm going to do a quick little thing here. First of all, I'm out of uniform. This is a good reason why. This is my mom's Tennessee Titans stuff. And every time I've worn it, we've won. So we played in a few minutes, so I have to. Or my mom upstairs would strike lightning bolts on me. I was asked to do this and to work with this guy right here. But this guy is the expert on the social media stuff. He does a lot of stuff for the BMW stuff, right? I mean, just look at his hair. This is going to be a good one. So, Kyle Van Hoften, take it away.
That's risky already if you're clapping. I haven't even said anything. But my name's Kyle. Hopefully the volume on the mic is going to be okay. I'm going to balance all the things I'm holding and not try to hit me or any of you with any of this stuff. Kyle, my role in full-time is I'm social media and communication specialist for Liqui-Moly. Anyone familiar with Liqui-Moly oils, by the way? Charlie, where are you? Where's there? Yep, there we go. There we go. Good. Not my role today to talk about that, although I had an extra shirt, so I wore it. But I've been having a lot of fun. Liqui-Moly said, hey, look, we need to engage the audiences where they are, and we need to get on board with this. And they looked at some of their competitors, and there was a lot of energy out there in social media. So one of the things that I wanted to ask right off the top, and I've seen some of the surveys that we've done on site for, who all was here for the better part of the week? Okay, cool. And then who's arrived just for this? Okay, cool. Who in here would you say, yeah, I'm comfortable with social media as you define it? Cool. Who is not? Okay, cool. Nothing right or wrong with any of that. The goal of today, as we'll get to in just 1 second, actually, one very quick second, is up here. But the high level nature way to describe it is just want to share with you what the program is going to be doing with social media as a component of its integrated marketing and communications, and what your role can be, but not to make it too intrusive. So it should not upset the apple cart. It should not change the way you go about what you do, but perhaps even facilitate it by not necessarily adding by incremental, but by adding by perhaps efficiency and more fun. So that is the details here as we'll go through with the different slides. Back to my introduction. I love cars. I like cars. Anybody like cars? Okay, cool. I am not necessarily a skilled driver, so I don't show up here saying I should do your social media because I can go around a course well. No. However, my daughter, 51 weeks ago, actually on Super Bowl Sunday last year, participated in Street Survival, enjoyed it. It rained the entire time. Was anyone in Southern California, Fontana for that one? Okay, it was damp. And if you're thinking of missing the playoff games today, I missed the whole Super Bowl for that. So I should get a good dad prize. But I love the program. And she went to it enthusiastically. She went to it thinking, this is good. I'm going to learn how to control the car better and be a better driver. My understanding is that a lot of our participants show up begrudgingly. Fair statement? So some of what we're going to try to do is adjust that mindset in the short, medium, and long term so that there are more people who will be at least more comfortable coming and ideally even enthusiastic. And one of the ways we're going to do that through social media is let them tell that story. So and we can all probably agree, and if you can't, raise your hand and tell me we're wrong here, but that if a teen tells a teen to go do something, it's much more likely to happen, both good and bad, than if we tell the teen, you should go do this. Fair statement? And that's the beauty of what we're going to try to do is create an environment where they are so that they can retell the story and it's coming from them. And it's not going to happen overnight and it won't happen immediately and it won't be something where tomorrow we look around and go, wow, 400 extra people just waved their hand and raised their hand and said, we'll do this. But we're going to move that needle. Okay, comfortable with what we're going to hear? Program goals. This is what we're looking at the high level. So basically, I look at it as two markets. Is that fair? Two broad markets. We've got the parents and we've got the potential participants. Fair statement? So additional market?
Volunteers.
That's a really good point. Thank you for that, volunteers, because we do need this to happen with volunteers. Thank you for pointing that out. We're going to reach more parents, reach more possible participants, and I don't say possible as in we're going to possibly reach the participants. We're going to reach more possible/potential participants and existing and past participants as well. We're going to leverage the enthusiasm from the participants. We agreed that a lot of them show up begrudgingly. How do they leave? Generally, right? I mean, we've all seen them that just never clicked, but generally they leave going, that was cool. And that's what we want to leave them with. And what is the first thing they're probably going to do once they're out of the vehicle's driver's seat? Exactly. Pick up the phone, pick up their device, and what are they going to do on that device? They're going to say something to somebody in some form of or other. In fact, real quick as an aside, I mentioned form or other. Who in here's favorite communication is email? Okay, who in here's favorite form of communication is the telephone? Whether you have to dial it like this, or dial it like this, or dial it like that. Who in here's favorite communication is texting? Go ahead. And those of you not looking around, there's hands for all of this stuff. Who in here's favorite form of communication is yelling loudly? Okay, at times, yeah, there we go. Others? What's another form of communication that we enjoy?
Facebook.
Facebook, thank you. What was this?
Face-to-face. Face-to-face.
Face-to-face, I remember that. I've heard about that. I heard Facebook, any Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I know you're all on TikTok right now, right? What? Yeah. But I bring that up to show that there are a number of different places to communicate. And be honest here, because we've all been slow to adapt to different forms of everything in life, including different automobile features. I've heard that the stick shift is going away or something even. That can't be true. That can't be true, right? My daughter drives a stick shift Jeep, by the way, okay? Yeah, there you go. Good. And she did not use the Jeep in Street Survival because it wasn't approved and doesn't have the stability control. And I should probably be a better dad and get her a better car. But social media, who's comfortable with that term? Okay, cool. I look at that term very rudimentary, and maybe it's from my etymology experience in taking Latin all my life. Not true. 2 years. It's the media. It's the medium between society. That's all that is, and it sounds like, well, yeah, duh. But when you look at that social media, a lot of us think, oh my gosh, that's Instagram, that's Facebook. True, but these are just the next iterations, not necessarily evolutions of email, of fax, of letter writing. They're just shifting the way and the effectiveness of it. Right now, you're going to hear the term today, and some of you are familiar and some aren't, tagging. So right now, to the person next to you, tap them on the shoulder. Not firmly unless you know them really well. All right. So that is, in a sense, tagging. That is when you hear someone say, oh, tag me on Instagram, tag me on Facebook. So what you're doing, you're telling someone something's going on. And you're enabling it. Now, the difference is you're here next to someone, so you're like, hey, I've got to tell you the story later. And you're like, cool, tell me the story later. But this changes the playing field and changes the market and changes the geography and changes the impact we can have using these other forms of communication, other channels. So when you tag someone, don't be intimidated. You're just telling someone that you want them to know something or be aware of something. Now, as is often the case, if you tap someone next to you, do we always listen? So that happens in social media too. You might tag someone and they might never know it. I've heard a lot. My friend the other day said, I said, hey, how you been? He's like, you haven't been following my Facebook page? And I'm like, I love you, but no, I didn't see, no, are you okay? What happened? He's like, I'm out of town. Okay, good. But you don't see everything that goes on. And that's the same thing, but we want to make it more broad or broader so it's out there in different ways so more people can pick it up. In marketing, people often say you need 5 touch points to make an impact and to cause a conversion. Not necessarily the good conversion, but someone might say, that's the 5th time, don't call me again. But that's when the brain triggers to a yes or no, generally for 88% of the time. So what we're trying to do is create more of those touch points so more teens and more parents are more comfortable, and this becomes more of a standard, more of a, this is the status quo. This is what we're supposed to do. It doesn't stop at driver's ed. It continues, and this is part of the process. So we're talking about, is this good so far? We good? Y'all with me? All right, if you fall asleep, just let me know. Okay. We want to grow event attendance. Is that a fair statement? And by that, I don't mean just the attendance at the events. I think some people could do repeat performances. My daughter already is prepared for that. We just need to find her pavement in an event, and she'll go. And I'm going to hope she goes, brings her friends, and posts on social media. But we want them to go, and we want engaged attendance is what I passively mean by that too, so that they're there. And my daughter admitted yesterday, she said, when I showed up, I didn't like the talking part. You're already thinking, this guy's daughter doesn't like talking? That's weird. No, she said, I didn't like when they talked at me. And I was like, well, it was with you, not at you, but it was with you. But I said, how did you like it when it went through she said, oh, it was awesome once we got behind the car. So what I think when I hear that is through different communications, different posts, different pictures, different videos, different captions, different hashtags, and I will refine some definition, but if I say anything that doesn't resonate, you're not the only one, so raise your hand and I'll be more clear. But through all those different ways of communication, we raise the pedestal of the interest on every aspect. Because there will be some who show up and go, I cannot wait for this driving, and there's other people who will be sitting there going, I had no idea about that statistic. That's awesome. And they'll embrace different parts of the program. So there isn't one answer of one type of photo or one type of caption or one type of tag or even one type of location or one type of car that we need to post in these pictures and videos and tags and tweets and whatever else we evolve to. Program goals, we're going to generate content for promotion. This is really one of the biggest challenges of not social media, but any good communication outreach. My boss the other day said, can you write a press release on that? I said, I can. I'd not recommend it. That's not a story. He goes, oh, I really like it. I said, I'll write you a letter. But the audience, or take, for example, if you see a photo in any channel of a car, little blurred background, maybe a blurred logo that you may or may not recognize in the back, and it looks to be in some sort of competitive environment, who in here would be like, I'd probably look at that picture. Oh, I got two people. Well, I thought it'd be a cool picture. You haven't seen my pictures yet, have you? No. But if there's a picture of a car just sitting there and doesn't really say much about it, which one of those is more engaging generally? The action, the movement. And again, I said, everyone has a purpose, but sometimes my colleagues will say, hey, I'm at a Cars and Coffee, and here's my table. Can you post that? Yeah, thank you. That expression is what I would have if you saw that. It was perfect. It's maybe mine too. But if you look at that and you're thinking of all the things you have to look at and read and learn about every day, there's a picture of a table with a can of oil on it. You'd be like, move on, I'll go to something else. But there might be a point for that. Or there might be a time for that. So if you're thinking, is a picture of 25 students sitting there watching in a seat, is that engaging? It could be, but it also could be necessary for us to show in different capacities. So that's another thing about the content. And that's one thing that we'll reiterate here for this group, is that we're going to come up with different ways for your events, your environments to generate that content, which doesn't mean you have to be running around with a camera. Because who's going to be the best people to take pictures at these events? It wasn't supposed to be rhetorical. No, who do you think is the best person to take the students? And not while they're driving, but it's a great educational opportunity, right, too? To say, well, not now. No, hands back on the wheel. 9 and 3. So create opportunities for others to tell our story, and that's really part of it, too. If I walked in here and didn't tell you the objectives of today's presentation, and we were talking, and after about 30 minutes, you're like, where is he going? You're probably already thinking that. But what's he here to do? You wouldn't be that clear, and you probably wouldn't be, hopefully you're engaging and absorbing more this way. But if we don't tell the students ahead of time, we'd really like to see your content. They're not going to be as inclined to do it. And maybe there's a couple points where we say that, because if they're about to sit down for a 1 hour or 90-minute discussion, they might go, what am I going to take a picture of? But if we tell them at the beginning, and we tell them in the middle, and say, hey, when you're waiting, take a picture of your friend, or take a picture, or have someone take a picture of you, or have your parents, if they're here, take a picture of you there, and then we tell them how to tag it and how to post it. Who's going to see it if they post their picture? All their kids, all their friends, and all the parents, other parents. Now, as parents, who all has kids in here of any age, that at some point what we've done with our kids, it was awesome, wasn't it? Whatever we chose to do with our kids was, we took our kids to the right place. We took them to a travel place. We bought them a certain gift, or we didn't, or we made them do something to earn it. True, right? We're proud of what we do. Who do we tell what we do? Our friends, sometimes passively, sometimes actively. And the advent of many more platforms like Instagram and Facebook have given rise to seeing what people are eating more. No, other things too, pictures of your lunch. But they've given rise to people showing off, right? We show off, look what I did for my kid, look what I've done here. And that's what we want the parents to do also. Is because if I'm a parent and I've invested in, how many parents, percentage-wise, accompany their kids?
Almost 50%.
Almost 50%? So if you have 25, and I'll use 30 because it's a better number to do a half of, you have 15 parents there. Even if you get a third of them, that's 5. Even if you think that's aggressive and we get 3 to take a picture and post a picture, their friends are going to see it possibly. Not 100% of them. But if we take that and say we've done 105, 108 events and more soon, that mathematically increases and it grows, and we'll now get that viral opportunity of so many other people telling their story, because generally someone will say, what's that event? And isn't that the first thing? Instead of us saying, you need to listen to this event, if they say, what is that event? How do I get involved? Now they're in and they're engaged and they're vested. Sound good so far? Okay. Program introduction. We can go through a lot of this sort of quick. Don't read the last points. I didn't do the fancy builds, so we'd all mess that up. But if you're all reading the end, incorporate social media into the integrated mix. It's not intended to be a one-stop solution. It's intended to be a facilitator, an accelerator, an exhilarator, perhaps? No? An accelerator? Activate our best marketing resources, and I believe those are our volunteers. See, I listened earlier. Volunteers, participants, and the events themselves. Because there's a lot of fun that goes on there. And that's what we want to leverage. So we don't have to create anything else. It's already there. We just have to, or not have to, we just can leverage it more. So this is the best position to be in, because if you go into anyone and say, we need to do a marketing campaign, we need to create all this content, it's there. All we need to do is activate it and capitalize on it. And then we said at the beginning, when they leave, they're fired up. Let's bring that to the forefront. And not just the forefront of the event, but the forefront of their activities. Because this is the other way that we'll capitalize on this. When they post, it's not gone. So today I looked at the hashtag, and I'll explain some of these details for those less familiar, driver's ed. So in Twitter, in Instagram, in Facebook, you can do the pound sign, shift 3, hashtag driver's ed. That creates, and I apologize if this is basic for some, but I think we're in the room, we'll just blend it and I'll share it, that creates a sort of virtual thread. Like if we said driver's ed and every one of us posted a picture and typed hashtag driver's ed, and we posted all those on the wall physically, these walls would be listed of all the posts that we just did, all about driver's ed. The next room would be driver's education, which is a different tag. Okay. To our advantage, but I looked at there were 67,200 posts associated with the term driver's ed. And I looked at a few of them, and some of them were silly, and some of them were funny, and some of them were of kids saying, taking my driver's test today. Okay. Maybe the Street Survival Program account writes, good luck. How'd that go? What was the most challenging part of it? What's your favorite part of driving now that you have your license? Because some of these posts were a year or two old, but they're not gone. So that's what I'm looking at when we talk about what's out there and what's available for us. And the work that you have to do for it, that's not you doing that. That's the program, the admin for the pages that's going around. All we have to do is me, the admin, whoever that is looking for that content, looking out there in various capacities. They'll also tag us. I'll say it, it's a weird, at mention, it's the at sign, and Street Survival. It won't happen a lot at first because they don't know us. So we build awareness, get that, but we ask them, hey, when you leave, the picture you're about to, you said, right when they leave, they're gonna pick up their phone and start typing on their phone and say, just tag us. What does that mean? We'll have some signage, we'll have a cheat sheet for you at each event with those words to say and phrases to say. And we'll also be getting their Instagram accounts more, not every one of them. Because a lot of times the parents are registering them, and the kid hasn't told them their Instagram account or Facebook account or Snapchat account. Some have. So we'll get some Instagram accounts and we can tag those. So jumping into this last one here, more than just going to the audience where the audience is, it's enabling the audience to take us where their audience is. And some people say, well, if I shout, hey, this is a great program, okay, if a tree falls, right, who heard it? But if we're letting them shout it, the story's not even done because their folks are doing it. Now, I'm going to wait for that slide because it's actually a slide. It's a really cool picture, maybe. Data. Look at this small detail. Don't worry about the small data. This isn't intended for you to jot notes down or get granular with it. But the cool part about this is 69% of adults use Facebook. I'll round it to 70. 74% of Facebook users check it daily. So if we do the math on 74% of 69%, it's a lot of people, considering the 2 billion people that are on Facebook. Some of them are in other countries, but there's still a large number. Instagram has more than 1 billion users. I believe the number, I don't think I included it, 110 million are US. I'll still work with that number. Is that good? There are probably some kids and parents in those numbers. Instagram users spend an average of 28 minutes a day on Instagram. If you're a parent of an Instagram user, or if you're an Instagram user, you're probably thinking, am I high or low? Who's on Instagram in here? All right, is that a high or low number for you?
That's a high number for me.
So you're lower than that? Cool. Nothing right or wrong with that?
I'm on IG all the time.
All the time. So you're higher than that. So you two balance and average. It's good of you. Anyone else, high or low on that?
It's high for me.
High for you. Anyone else?
High for me.
It's low if you check it. You may not be posting, but you're reading and.
Great point. Yeah. Was there another comment here too?
Low for me.
Look, you're on it all day. I see you. I'm just kidding. But this is also one of the fun factors about it. My mother-in-law is a lurker, her word. I've got other words. She's a wonderful woman. She's a lurker on Facebook. She doesn't post ever, but she checks it out. She knows more about my life than I do because she's like, I heard you were in Vegas. I'm like, I just landed. How did you know that? And I didn't post anything because my wife posted that Kyle's going to Vegas for a presentation, and she saw that, and now I'm like, where are you? How did you do that? So there's nothing right or wrong with that because a lot of parents do that. And a lot of parents do that on their kids' accounts, and a lot of parents do that on their friends' accounts, but others are on it all the time. And a lot of folks, who in here is in Southern California? Anybody? It's a lovely place. It's raining, I think. But whenever there's an earthquake, a lot of us just go to Facebook and go, was it really an earthquake? Because Facebook's 100% accurate. And then you're like, no, it wasn't a 3.6, it was a 3.7. I read the news. But Facebook users, Instagram users, they all use it differently. So there's so much neat opportunity there. But the point about this is that if Scott, right, is using it all the time and you're bouncing in, maybe checking it, does that guarantee that either one of you will see it? No. So we continue our efforts and continue hitting it and repost stuff too. There are tags in the Instagram and Facebook communities. Throwback Thursday, right? TBT. What is this? TBT. Why do I keep saying this? Okay, it's Taco Burrito. TBT. Throwback Thursday. Flashback Friday, which means 6 months later we can post the same picture and get away with it. Oh, remember that time Bill was having a lot of fun at that one course? Here he is again. Throwback Thursday. Nice. If we're gaining followers anyway, a lot of folks hadn't seen that. I've got one picture that I post on my personal account, and I kind of redo it every 6 months, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's the coolest picture. You hadn't seen that already? No, because only if I have 4,000 followers, that's not a good or bad thing, that's just what it's about, the number. And engagement, a really good engagement, which means someone saw it and either liked it, commented on it, shared it, or saved it. It's a general definition. 1% to 2%. If you're getting 5% to 10%, stop the presses. Same thing with us, which means they're not seeing it all the time. Because you pop on, you don't see what's at the bottom of the feed, the top of the feed, you just see what you see and move on. If you see something, our brains will probably go to something and play with that for a little bit and then leave. So the beauty of this is it's the gift that keeps on giving. I did also want to isolate the data up here. 13 to 17-year-olds, 72% are on Instagram. And Snapchat is growing as the more preferred platform. That's next year's presentation, Snapchat. No, but there will be new applications that deserve attention coming forward. The good thing about this is my daughter was enthusiastic to go to Street Survival because she knew from the time she was 11 or 12 that that's part of the process. And I get a little bit for that, but we're trying to get that to be more the norm. And a 13-year-old right now is in that market. So right now our brains might go, a 13-year-old's not going to take Street Survival. He or she doesn't have a license yet. And the parents will want them to start thinking about this, because if you have anyone have a 14-year-old, 13 or 14-year-old here, y'all get nervous already, right? Amen. Yeah. So if we get more parents thinking ways to enhance your opportunity to bring your kid home more safely, this is good, and survive the streets. I'm not going to get too granular. Is anything up here that I didn't cover that you want to hear more on?
Look at the bottom stat.
The bottom stat. 73% of U.S. teens say Instagram is the best way, thank you, Bill, for brands to reach them about products and promotions. Don't let me skip this one next time, Bill. No, so 73% of U.S. teens, and it's 72% plus some overage in the 18-year-old range of that market that's on Facebook, that 73% of them, 3/4 of them, that's the best way for brands to reach me. And there's another stat, I don't think I put it there, that it's an 80% statistics, 83 or 4% say that they actively will look at least one ad a day. And we think we skip over ads, right? But the way the ads are being created are done to parallel the feeds. So if I see an ad, sometimes I have to look twice and go, was that Johnny's post, or is that a new watch that I need to buy? I have a good watch, but it's not on right now. So thank you. So is that fair to say that we can reach them in different ways also? The other thing about some of our posts is we can target posts. I'm probably jumping ahead from the data, but location. Where's another upcoming Street Survival program? Geography. Anybody? Minnesota. We're going with Minnesota. We can target these posts and say we're going to post this picture for Minnesota. You can get more granular. You can go by town. You can then add interests on that. And you can say, look, it might be fine. It's fine if someone in Washington sees it, because we also want them to be thinking, I want to do that in my backyard. But if we're about to have an event, registration's opening, it's coming up in 2 months, we can target that. And then we can also say, you know what, let's see if we can start tagging some of those schools in the area at such and such a high school. I don't know who's reading or who's following that, but a lot of people follow hashtags and a lot of people follow accounts. Maybe someone reposts it. Probably more likely that someone will repost it rather than zero. So there's a lot of fun things we can do to reach those audiences. What, I have 3 more hours? I'm just kidding. We good so far. I'm not done, you know that. This is the approach that we're taking broadly. And if you're interested in what it means, like, hey, am I going to do that? This isn't intended to be a workload thing for you. But posting pictures to Instagram and Facebook, that's the primary activity. LinkedIn's a good channel for a lot of benefits. Twitter, certainly something that's active. Snapchat is something we're going to have to attend to in the future. And TikTok is another one that's gaining stuff. I say this not to intimidate, just for those of you who are like, what about TikTok? It's there. We just don't know really how to monetize it yet and try to capitalize and advertise with it. YouTube, of course, a lot of potential there. Videos are the most viral, repurposable thing. So the more we have in various lengths. IGTV, which is Instagram television, is what Instagram's trying to do to compete with YouTube a bit. Different way to make more digestible videos. Who here right now, if I said, I've got a 4-minute video, I want you to watch it. Are you in? Or if I have a 40-second video. And that's the benefit. There are times when you watch a video and go, I want to see more of this. But right now, our attention span is going to be not just kids, our attention span, we've got other things going on. So let's give me a sampling of it and see if that's impactful. So the various platforms let us use that. Create repurposable content. That's really the key. So it's not just us posting a picture to say, look what happened, look what I did. But we want someone else to say, look what happened, look what I'm posting. Look where I was. And if we give them that feed and they take it and run with it, that can go anywhere and everywhere. More on that in a moment. Content should be a blend of photos and videos, and a blend. And the other thing I should have introduced before, social media engagement and management is never done, and it's never 100% correct. So any day on any presentation, any post that I ever do, my colleagues can always justifiably come back and go, what about this post? Why didn't you do this post? I'll have an answer, but there's always something we're gonna miss, and there's always something we can do better. But that's the beauty. Look around the room and look how many events we do, and look at all the fun stuff we do. Right now I'm thinking we could get an amazing amount of content that would make our feed almost have to slow down and balance and go, we can't post that, we just posted 27 pictures. And that's a little much. Because there's also the dynamic of, especially with teens, does anyone know that ratio balance that teens, they don't want to be following more people that are following them, then they would be less cool. And there's a lot of adults in the same boat, so I'm not trying to be patronizing to teenagers, but my daughter, I'll be honest, we had to get to a number. My goal was 9,000 followers for Liqui by the end of the calendar year, 2019, and we were literally at 8,998 New Year's Eve. And I'm looking around, I'm like, my daughter, Ashley, 17, I said, Ashley, you gotta follow Liqui. She's like, I don't wanna follow cars. I'm like, it's 6 hours, just follow it for 6 hours. And she goes, okay, Boba the mini pug, that's my dog, that account followed Liqui for 6 hours also. We got to 9,000. But by the morning we had 9,004, and then we went to 9,003 because Ashley was like, I'm out, I don't wanna see that anymore. But the reason I bring this up is not to show how unethical I was to my boss. Is this thing on? Was that there's a lot of unfollows. You know, every week we try to gain a lot of followers, and our data showed us that we gained 102 followers for Liqui and we lost 32. And at first I'm like, oh, what am I doing wrong with the 32? We can track maybe what posts were on what days when they exited. But generally, you know, that's natural attrition in this environment. You want more adding than you want leaving. Target teens and parents, and who else? Volunteers, good work. That's gonna be good because we have our messages too. And we heard in here again, hands up, who utilizes some platform of social media? Don't be bashful, this is exercise, we're saying like. So if any percentage of our volunteers, especially if we take that similar ratio over to the instructors that show up, and we're like, you guys should be posting this too. And tag us. Because every time someone tags us, we can tag that back, and the parents will see it, and the kids will see it, and the instructors will see it, and people will want to continue to volunteer. Let them inspire, put this here. Let them inspire, or let them and inspire them to share the messages to the peers. We do need to say it. It won't happen accidentally, and it won't happen coincidentally. But it will happen with more encouragement. Especially because if a child or a parent has invested that much time in their day, they were right. They did the right thing. They're gonna tell their friends that. Not 100% of the time, because you're right, some people are like, that blew, I'm not going back there. But generally we wanna tell people what we did was the right thing because that makes us look better and feel better. Teens boasting in their channels. Well, you said there's a laser here. Should I try it? No, I'm not gonna try it. Teens boasting in their channels about their experience will have a greater impact, right? And that's one thing we wanna move is have them do the posting for us. We'll give them the base platform, the account, and they'll go forward and share the message for us. Parents will boast in their channels. We went over that earlier. All of this was repurposable for promotions to other events. Again, if there's one in Minnesota, those pictures are fully valid. Who's in Minnesota here? Anyway, okay. So if you're ice racing at the event, you studied your tires and you're good and you're ready to go, maybe that's not applicable in Florida. But what I'm saying is if the event is going on there, we can still post that in Florida. We can still post that in Tennessee. Even if are the Titans on yet? Are they playing right now?
Will be.
All right, just checking. Uh-oh. So I have 19 minutes. No, and then here I mentioned earlier the targeting geographies. So does that make sense? There's a good opportunity to reach out to folks? Can I get hands real quick to see? Okay, good. So how are we doing so far? Are there any questions, even if it's on an upcoming slide? Yes?
So when you're talking about targeting, are you talking about promoted posts and things like that?
Yeah, the question was, in case you didn't hear it, talking about targeting, am I talking about promoting posts? That is a yes, but there's also sort of the passive targeting. But when I mention that, I am talking, sometimes you'll see a boost, or you'll see sponsored, or you'll see advertised. For a simple amount, we can do $25. It can reach an extra 3,000 people. And we can either cater it to the specific audience we want, or we can, Facebook and Instagram have a audience that they know, and they do. They know that already, so that's another option too. The other part about that is through the use of hashtags and @mention tags, we're trying to reach new specific audiences as well. So that's the other part. Question here.
You mentioned sponsors.
Thank you. You're right. A different audience right there. He said I haven't mentioned sponsors, and that I was remiss in that. All of this can focus on getting more sponsors, appeasing, satisfying existing sponsors, and also leveraging them passively so they're sharing our message too. After an event, Tire Rack is the first sponsor I'll think of. That if we post, hey, we're at the Tire Rack Street Survival, and we tag Tire Rack, or if there's a local sponsor, and we tag, thank you at so-and-so shop for joining us. They're gonna repost that. And they'll repost it, and then we'll get some traction on that too. So, and it really does a great job that if our sponsors are like, what are we getting? And one of the other things that I've been involved with is the BMW CCA Foundation. We took that page from, I think about, and the numbers aren't the key, but the engagement is good because there are 3 sponsors right now that have specifically said part of the reason they're involved is because of what the BMW CCA Foundation's social media platforms are going to provide for them. And that's a very good point about that, about the sponsors and involvement in there. So when we think of what we're trying to do in growing audiences, obviously if we have more sponsors too, that'll help us get more attendees and more parents because we'll have more flexibility and more money. Good. We'll catch some more questions here. I think I have about 12 more minutes. Approach, this is an example of that, other people telling our stories. All right. Individual, this is Garrett Hughes. He does work for Liqui Moly. He posted a picture of the Turner IMSA transporter. So he posted it and tagged Liqui Moly. So we added it to the story, and then Liqui Moly posted it and said, our man Garrett, tagging him, that's what the tag is, the @ with a sneak peek of what's now the world's greatest hauler. Well, guess who picked it up? Because I tagged Turner Motorsports in the post. This is a story post, which is different than a feed post. More details shortly, but don't get caught up in it, just showing different ways we can reach people. Turner Motorsports posted that. So you see where it went. Garrett's sitting there, and Garrett has like 100 followers. It's not right or wrong, it's just what he does. It's his gig. He posted this, and now it reached Liqui Moly, 9,000. My daughter left, 8,800, 998, 99. Turner Motorsports, I think, has 80,000. What? 80,000 people just saw that. That's not true. What percentage of reach on a story post, depending who it is, 4 to 5%? Do the math, more than 0. And that's engaging. So here, another Turner, this guy, Kyle Van Hoften, right here, posted this, tagged them, Liqui Moly, oh, that was me too, posted that, and then Turner Motorsports grabbed that also. 80,000, maybe the same 5%, maybe a different 5%. Even if it's the same, now they're like, well, that's, Liqui Moly's doing something right. And sometimes the individuals want to be reposted. In the accounts that I manage, when I repost someone's picture, they almost always right away direct message back and go, thank you. And I've seen it from Liqui Moly, and they've said that they'll repost the story and say, my favorite oil brand just reposted my picture. And they're like, they're set for life, right? Was that, yeah. You get people so fired up that happened. So if Street Survival is reposting that person's picture of him or her in a car, even we don't have as many followers right now as we will, but they'll look at it and go, that's awesome. And then they'll go, okay, repost. Is that a question, or am I running out of time, or both?
It's a question. How do we do this for upcoming schools? I'm used to getting on Facebook and, okay guys, here it comes. Can we do that on Instagram, and who should we hashtag?
Well, good question. The question was, how do we do this on Instagram? She does it on Facebook. I may be getting ahead by that answer because of the administrative component of what we're going to do. Thank you. We'll give a cheat sheet, a one-pager, maybe a 2, on how you all can do some of these. But the intent is not to burden you with those responsibilities locally at each level. You can, and that's why I'm sharing it at this kind of mid-range level. But what we'll be doing if there's an event coming up in Minnesota that we'll tag those pictures and say, so that the calendar is going to have to be integrated with the channel management. So the admin on the site will need to be aware of those, which is a two-way, three-way communication. But if there is an event coming up, and this has gone on at Liqui that with 25 regional managers for Liqui structure spread out in the country, 4 of them have been diving into this. And they're reposting, and they're getting shops to go, hey, you stopped by that shop, why don't you stop by my shop? Well, that's cool. And now the other 21 guys are saying, why are you reposting all his shops? I'm like, because he's sending me pictures. So if we know about it, we can do it, and we'll have the schedule, and we'll have the calendar, and we can say upcoming thing, upcoming event, here's this, here's how to register, and do a couple pictures. So we'll get more specifics about which tags, but it also depends on which location the school is, and perhaps what that site has struggled with or accelerated and succeeded with in the past. If that program is really good at a certain thing, let's boast about it. Or something of that nature. Or if we have a lot of photos, or if we've got a lot of rain pictures and we know it's going to be rainy, don't worry, you still should come. We've had fun in the rain. I think I have 8 minutes. The other one right here, there's more slides. FCP Euro, does anyone buy stuff from FCP Euro? Not a sales pitch, it just happens to be on my slide. We did it again. I posted, Liqui reposted it, and FCP, and this is this summary right here. I don't know if you can see it. It says FCP Euro, tagging their account, spotting Liqui, spotting K Van Hoften, Liqui spotting. And I did that sort of sarcastically, but that's really what happens, which is why every one of those folks is posting them. And FCP Euro has 32,000 followers. So somewhere along that thread that we created, a lot of people are benefiting, a lot of people are seeing that message. And there are countless slides that we could share with that. I didn't want to get more than that, but that's a fun little high level of that. There were some that I saw just driving in. If I remember, I'll remind me of that. Maybe they're on my notes I wrote down. Wow, those are good notes. No? In the next 7 minutes, I think, 6, we're not hoping for the engagement. We're trying to create it. These are kind of bonus things just to share with you different ways we create more energy. It's not just posting the pictures, but it's going out and finding who's talking about us or related concepts. I mentioned the driver's ed hashtag earlier. It's commenting on people's posts. It's letting them go, oh, wow, thanks, Street Survival. Appreciate that, thank you. Other people going, why is Street Survival? Who are they? Tagged, look at their account. Maybe I'll follow that account because they see us, otherwise they wouldn't have known about us. Responding to comments. When people comment, a lot of pages don't engage back, but that's the win. That's like them writing us a letter, calling us. They're right there. They've asked a question. So it'll be important. Not you. It's not your burden. It's the account's burden. It's what we're going to be doing. But the more times we're aware of these conversations, we might not see them. You might on Facebook or Instagram, and you'll want to either share that as an actual share to the account, where the account admin will see it, or we'll have emails and phone calls. I think there's an email box we're setting up or something of that nature. Direct messages, if you heard anyone say, send me a DM or a PM for direct message or private message, there is a message box within the account, and there are messages that in Liqui Moly I get about 30 a day. That's awesome. I think we've got a few more here. Local level opportunities. In the next 300 seconds, capture photos and video if you can, or encourage them to do it. If you've got a couple instructors, and it's not my place to say how they manage their activities in or around the cars, but digest this and see what fits with your approach and what's legitimate. But if there are people that can take pictures of them in the car, or, and one of you was saying, that actually could be a teaching environment. When I'm shoving a camera in your face, what do? Are you focusing a little less? This is what happens when your friends ride in your cars. But, those different dynamics. But let's get content. Encourage capturing content. Let them know. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to seeing your posts later. Tag us. We'll have that information on the sheets. Send us content so we can post. Tell them to tag us. This will all be on your one-pager cheat sheet. Don't worry, I'm not going through all these. This is just to have this here. Different types of content. This information will be available to you later. just different ways. We talked about long videos and short videos. Candid and posed. That's an interesting, some people have to be looking at the camera. Otherwise, just take a picture of them changing their, checking their tire pressure. Group pictures and tag them. They're gonna tag 30 people because they're all in the picture. Hey, let's have everyone get together. Group picture. Any Instagram account we have from those kids, we'll tag them and get them going. Parents with kids, because they'll repost that. Me with my daughter hanging out. Look at me at Street Survival. I'm gonna post that all day. Question?
I don't hear anything about email. Not everybody is on social media. Right. And do you use your social media to kind of ask for your email and we'll send you the flyer or?
Oh, for you all here in the room? Or for the students?
To the students, to get people, to get parents, do they kind of?
So I think if I understood your question, in the registration page, oh, you're talking about even finding them before that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when it comes closer, you can, reach them personally instead of, you hope to check your Facebook. I mean, you just don't know how often somebody goes to Facebook, but that's what
Yeah.
is that personal.
So let me make sure I understand it and not get too granular and use up my last minute that might have just expired, but we'll address it. But in the registration, all this is an overlay. All this is a component of the integrated mix of how we go to market. So it's not supposed to supplant anything. It's not supposed to replace anything, but to supplement it. So from meeting new people, we can still do our existing campaigns and still do our existing outreach on a local, regional, and national level. And outside of that, I'm not as familiar with the current state, so I don't want to dive into it. And out of respect for my last minute also, I'll be here today, maybe meet with the folks here that helped me put this together, and we'll get that answered better. Is that good? Because it's a very legitimate question, so thank you for that.
You got a time limit, at least.
Bill just gave me 5 minutes. Question here. I'm going to listen to her. I'm not. She says listen to you. All right, good.
When we post something,
Yes.
is there an official hashtag that we should use?
Yeah. The question is when you all do post something, and again, not a requirement of your role, but an opportunity, is there an official tag? Is there an official hashtag? The answer is there will be. There will be others you can include, and we'll have a list on the one pager of recommended tags. So it's a very good question. So you're not out there naked going, I don't know what to do with this. I've got this picture. But there'll be probably hashtag TireRack Street Survival, @mention TireRack Street Survival, and then the various related topics. But we'll get that on that one pager. Cool. So I've got 4 more minutes. There's my daughter. There she is after. See, it's still raining. That's her in her cozy. It was February 2nd, 3rd or something, so that was a late Christmas gift, I think. The Snuggle Bunny or whatever it's called. This kind of stuff, again, she didn't use that. It's a stick shift 2-door, by the way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, hey, she can drive. I can get a new car. I mean, she can get this car. But this is one of the examples. We'd love to see kind of stuff like this as they leave. As they're going to their car, take a picture in front of your car with a certificate as a sense of accomplishment. She can fake a smile. That's a real smile. She can fake a smile, but that was real. These are examples of photos. Some of these are examples of don't take the same photo over and over again. I've made the mistake at racetracks of going, that car's cool, that car's cool, that car's cool. And I have 400 pictures of the same angle. And it's like, no. But now I have 400 days for whatever to post those cars. So spice it up. Again, not for you, but ask them to take those pictures. Say, hey, take pictures of your friends. I know not everyone shows up with their friends, but often by lunch they've made friends or acquaintances.
Total sidebar, I gotta get him to stop so all of our blood pressure goes down for a second. But what's wrong with this picture?
The instructors.
Boom, thank you.
Good. I'm happy to support that this way. Yeah, these are not official Street Survival pictures. But no, actually that's a good point because there will be pictures that the site admin will need to check to confirm what we're saying and what we're representing. Just to use a quick parallel with Liquid Moly, people will post pictures. Look, I'm putting the oil in my car. And we're like, is that the right oil? I don't think that's the right oil. So we don't want to post that. Is this the right thing to do in the car? Like the picture's like, look at me rolling. And you're like, I'm not going to post that one. Unless we post it to say, what's wrong with this? Come to a Street Survival class and you'll learn this and 12 other fun things in the first 12 minutes. That That was a good drag race, the Hemi. Yeah. That's my daughter again. That's the car she took, to my wife's chagrin. That is the presentation. Are there any in the next 120 seconds that I've been allotted? Questions? Yes.
Not as much a question as a request.
Okay.
I'd like to, so I'm familiar with Twitter. My students are all about Insta, and I'm understanding that TikTok is becoming a thing. I've looked at it as new. I would love to see in, like, my last student's Facebook was something that their parents used. They didn't use that at all. So, any kind of suggestions or samples for people that may not be familiar with the platform and how to start taking advantage of it is possible?
Yes. So did you all hear that? I think that was loud enough. The short answer is, I think my role here today is to not get Granular to task you individually with what you should be doing. Now you're thinking that would really help though. Very true statement. So the short answer is the way we're moving forward with the program initially is absorbing the high level responsibility at the site admin. So sort of to paint a canvas on all the options. Not yet Twitter, just because, at least as it's being evolved, but it will be there because it's important. But if we're hit some people through Facebook, and you can mirror posts or you can repost. So if you hit it on Instagram and hit it on Facebook, maybe you're hitting twice as many people, maybe you're hitting 70% more people. So if you are not familiar, we're happy for you to get familiar, and I'd probably be happy to have those conversations with you. Not the expectation, more of a this is what we'll plan to do. So if you have content, that's what we're looking for. Is that a fair response to that, Bill? Okay, cool. Thank you for that question. That is it. There's a hand. Do I have time for one more? All right. Yes, sir.
So I'm from Ottawa. The BMW Car Club of Ottawa is organizing the entire street survival program.
And I apologize for my U.S.-centric
No,
comments.
it's fine.
Canada also.
Now, would I create a tire rack street survival Ottawa Instagram or whatever I can?
Very legitimate question. The question was, does he create a Tire Rack Street Survival Ottawa account? I would say from my suggestion, I couldn't say no. I couldn't say yes.
I'll say no.
Okay.
There you go. So that's the answer. Yeah.
I said no just because it's going to be more focused if we do it as a national level thing. He's going to see it, I'm going to see it, we're going to be able to broadcast a whole lot more. Kind of what happens in Ottawa stays in Ottawa that way. That's not 100% true, but it's a much bigger megaphone if you're using the national account.
So I would push content to you.
Yeah.
Now, the other way to do it also, and not, this is to supplement, support that, and make that easy. If you have a personal account, some may post that and say, look what I'm doing this week, or look what I'm doing in a month. And you can tag the national account, and now we have your content. And I get that daily from my peers and colleagues at Liqui Moly, where rather than text me, rather than email me, rather than wave their hand, they just tag the account because they know I'm searching the direct messages and looking for that.
And think about tagging Tire Rack. Think about tagging Michelin. Think about their accounts that they could reach out and go, wow, thanks for volunteering for this, for our programs. This happened. Boom, Michelin's
Sounds really
million
good,
followers.
but I know about the national account. I never knew to make use of it.
Right.
That's
Now,
why we're here.
That's why we're here, because
just
nobody
tag it.
knows about it.
Just tag it and then it'll make it there.
Yeah. And he's kind of said it, but you're going to be getting follow-up information. All the registrars, whether you're here or not, you're going to be getting information about, here's our national social media program, this is how it works, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're asking you to do, this is going to be, how we marching forward.
Yep, just an overview introduction. Now, those of you who already know me or have already inferred, I'd love to address more questions. I'm being asked to stop this for the respect of the rest of your program and lunch probably. But I will be here the remainder of the day. I'm looking forward to it. I'd like to sit in on the meeting anyway because I enjoy this with your permission, plus my flight's not till later. But thank you very much for listening. Thank you for all you do. I mean, genuinely, really impressive program. I said my daughters did it and it made a huge impact, and I'm a huge proponent of the entire program. I've been that for years. So thank you for the time here. I certainly hope this is aligned with what we're looking to get. Thank you, Bill, everybody for the time, and I'm going to put the microphone down.